channel. I am going to discuss the latest trend online, which is literally bullying children for standing around an Indian dude while he bangs his drum and chants at them. So everybody is saying that the kids are at fault, but lo and behold, the news media has only reported half of the story, or at least it previously did, resulting in all of these kids being doxxed, bullied, and harassed online just for the sake of standing there and trying to hold their own against an Indian guy who is apparently a veteran and barged into their circle of people and decided to harass them. I've seen the full video, so it's obvious that the guy, started it and actually tried to provoke them, but they didn't back down. They stood their ground, and they just stood there and smiled and danced and, enjoyed themselves. And the kids were there for a pro-life rally, and they had been harassed by people all day long, but that's none of my business. So this Indian guy comes while the children are still on the defensive and tries to start something with them because he believes that he has the moral high ground. He walks into their little circle of people and starts banging his drum and chanting something in his native tongue, and they dance, they enjoy themselves. The one kid just stands there and stares at him. Now, let's look back and remember that these are children. They're not adults. They don't know how to handle themselves in certain social situations. That being said, I don't think that I personally would know how to handle myself in that certain social situation, because here you have this elderly gentleman walking into a circle of people and obviously trying to oppose their views, and if I was in their shoes, I would feel pretty awkward too. It seems to me like the kids are just awkwardly smiling. That's not a smirk. That's an expression of awkwardness, and he's just, trying to hold his ground and not, I don't know, he's already on the defensive. He's trying to not start shit with this man who's obviously starting stuff with them. And I think they handled it very maturely. On to the headlines, though. You have things like Trump supporter children are bullying a Native American war veteran and things like that. It is wildly exaggerated, and they only show a tiny portion of the clip in the actual news articles and news media, so you don't see the bigger picture. It seems like the news is trying to victimize these children because it's just for the simple fact that they're wearing MAGA hats, because it's obviously biased against them. It's obviously directed towards a negative way of seeing them. And yet nobody does anything about it. There is wild uproar and outrage whenever children get bullied who are on the left. But you don't see any of that when children are bullied who are on the right. And now the news is coming out that the children were actually at an anti-abortion rally, and more people are spreading the actual videos of what's going on and what happened. And so now the media and the left is trying to turn around and bully them for being at an anti-abortion rally, saying that this Catholic school sent them out to proclaim something against women's rights, and it's suddenly trying to blame them for something completely different. But no matter what way you see it, it's trying to blame children for doing something that they really had no control over. They are not mature enough to know how to react to certain things, so they, smiled and it got called a smirk, and they were not really able to formulate an opinion for or against abortion, but the school did send them out on this anti-abortion rally. But maybe they did believe strongly in that, and people are victimizing them because they had certain beliefs in that. It's funny because these are kids when, the media wants to say, oh, these children are being forced to do this because they go to this Catholic school. Then they're being seen as kids. But as soon as the kids do something that the media doesn't like, it's like, oh, they're adults. They're old enough to be there, so they're old enough to know what they're doing, so they're obviously old enough to know not to bully this old man. Where do you draw the line? What's the difference? What sucks is that they're actually being doxxed and their pictures are being plastered all over social media, and they've actually had to get lawyers to try to handle their case because there is so many people going after them. I've seen several instances of this, and when I comment on the post and say, this is bullying children, this is wrong, they say, oh no, the kids deserve it, they should know better. They're old enough to know what they're doing, they're old enough to be treated like adults, they should know better, they shouldn't have done that. So it's totally justifiable to bully children and, actually cause them harm by putting their faces all over social media. What happened to protecting our children? What happened to don't post pictures of your kids online because they could get undue harassment? What happened to, don't go by your real name online, and don't allow children to go by their real names online, and don't allow children to have their information posted online? We used to protect kids, and now as long as they're doing something that we agree with, yeah, sure, we'll protect them and we'll try to keep them from harm's way. But as soon as they do something just a little bit iffy that we don't quite agree with, oh, go after them, go after them. It's ridiculous. So first of all, I'd like you to start by thinking about, did you ever do something that you regretted as a child? Or did you ever do something in your teen years that, you chalk off to just being a kid and being immature? And the second thing is, did you ever have strong opinions as a teenager? Whether you believe in them still or not, did you ever have strong opinions as a teenager that you wanted to act on and you wanted people to take you seriously on? But now that you look back at it, don't you think to yourself at some points, gee, I'm glad that nobody took me serious at that time, because I probably shouldn't have done that way. I shouldn't have handled that way. Or I shouldn't have made that choice. I shouldn't have even supported that cause. If you find yourself thinking things like that, then consider the fact that maybe these children are just acting on impulse. But there is the other side, that they truly believe in what they're standing for. And how is that any different than these, 16 and 17-year-olds that are going and standing and marching against gun violence? That's just the other side of the coin. You wanted those children that were marching against gun violence to be taken seriously and respected and treated well, and you outraged when people treated them poorly for their opinions. So shouldn't these children be given the same amount of respect? Shouldn't they maybe be, thought of as kids that have ideals and, maybe their voice can be valid and they can have an opinion. And maybe they're going to change that opinion in a few years. But whatever the case, bullying children is never all right. We need to take a stand, not just against, the bullying that kids do to kids in schools. We need to take a stand against adults bullying children. It needs to stop. It is child abuse. It is wrong. And quite frankly, it makes you look like disgusting people. That's all I have for tonight. So remember, like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you next time.